Welcome everybody to the High Carnivore Rush
channel.
Yeah, I'm in for another name change soon. I think it's due. Okay, today we're going to talk about more on the carnivore diet. Be focusing on Frank Tufano. Now here he is recently. We got Bart K, another carnivore, is noticing the way Frank is looking. But first, we're going to go back a little bit where we'll see Frank criticizing other carnivores.
Presenting the pride of New York, Frankie Boy Tufano.
So, I'm not sure if I thought of this when I was dreaming last night or just rolling around in bed. But for some reason, the idea that the long-term carnivores were lying came to me. How are these people on the diet for 10, 15, 20 years without any proof or credibility? They claim to be long-term carnivores, but don't really have an understanding of the diet past a beginner level.
By proof, he's probably referring to internet cred. Like you've been here talking about it. When most carnivores showed up in July of 2018. Bart was a little late, around November maybe.
I didn't really remember this after I woke up, but coincidentally, and guys, I've rarely had this happen in my life. A viewer emailed me about this, and when I saw that email, I was like, because I dreamed about this last night. I was like, hold on, am I losing my mind? And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Andersons, they're long-term 20-year carnivores, misleading people into following a poisonous grain-fed carnivore diet.
You probably didn't hear that right. He said carnivore, so he's talking about eating meat that comes from animals fed a grain diet. Yeah, that's another issue with this diet. The idea of someone starting on a diet like this and using regular store-bought meat starting back in the year 2000 is a little hard to believe. Oh, and we're about to see some hard-to-believe stuff here.
Joe claims the picture on the left is from 1998.
Yeah. I've watched this like 3 times. This is supposed to be the before picture 20 years ago, so she had to be really young. And this is 20 years later. Like I said, people are very gullible. Even in this age now where we know to be suspicious of everything, a lot of people's first inclination is to just believe something, especially if they want to.
On the right, it's a picture he's claiming is from 2017 after 20 years on the carnivore diet. This person that emailed me pointed out a rematch.
So Frank covers this, and he makes an excellent case. This picture is not 20 years ago, before having 2 kids. Come on. And also, I've covered this, before and after pictures can be manipulated in so many different ways. And the internet is just perfect for creating illusions. That sign right there is just one more clue that they are fakers, like a lot of people on the internet. This is a proven technique from many, many decades on TV. They're still doing it. Some keys to look for. Notice in this picture, her hair is the worst it could possibly be, as if she's doing it on purpose. Tie your hair up in the back. Easiest thing for women to do to look bad. And here the hair is much better. Also, the quality and the lighting is so much better. And notice tan, no tan. And notice this obvious problem here that she's not covering up. And over here, just covered up. You can do this all day long.
And the carnivore diet didn't fix the loose skin on her stomach. There's no way. I think Joe Anderson has a little bit of explaining to do. And I bet these carnivores are just going to double down on their nonsense, as that's what they do when confronted about their lies.
That's also what conservatives like him do. He clearly has faked pictures on the mind. When he's drifting off to sleep, it pops into his head. And he's very familiar with doubling down as a technique for lying and getting away with it.
What else is Joe Anderson willing to lie about? Is he willing to lie to get a quick check from big meat companies to fabricate a carnivore diet success story? None of this adds up.
I predicted this like 6 years ago here on YouTube, that people would do this and that the meat industry, of course, would do that.
No one really knew about these people in the carnivore community, before 2017. And these 10, 15-year carnivores are just popping out of the woodwork. Like that stuff doesn't happen. I was making YouTube videos 4 years ago. I was carnivore 2 to 3 years before that. What's really creeping me out is I literally dreamt about this last night when I was sleeping, and that person emailed me today, so I'm starting to think I actually am crazy. And they seem to just double down, and people still believe them because they have so much corporate sponsorship and money behind them. If someone goes on Joe Rogan and tells you something, and Frankie Boy is screaming his lungs out on the street, no one's going to hear me.
It just made me think of when Joe Rogan brought on Miley Cyrus to make the vegan diet look bad, but she is a really poor anecdote. But hey, who cares? Joe Rogan doesn't. He also reminded me of something that I wanted to bring up. He's talking about how the liars just double down and the followers just go with it. They're not using any critical thinking. They're using their emotions. And it reminded me of QAnon, which I wanted to bring up. A lot of carnivores are QAnon people.
I think Joe Anderson has a little bit of explaining to do.
But Frank, I think you also have some explaining to do on why you, who doesn't eat any corn or soy, can be turning into a soy boy. I thought it was soy that makes you turn into a soy boy, which is where the term comes from. You don't even eat animals that have eaten soy.
Frankie Boy!
Which brings us to Bart K's reaction to Frank. And remember, Bart is a formally trained expert.
Yes, I have had some military involvement in my past. It is classified. I am unable to speak about it. Now that Frankie has outed me, because we all take everything Frankie says absolutely seriously, unfortunately that'll be the end of my channel, because I've been outed as a CIA agent by Frank Tufano here, who, by the way, doesn't look very well. He looks very gaunt. He looks a bit pale. He's having some skin issues there by the looks of it. There doesn't seem to be much muscular development that's occurred. In fact, it looks like he's gone backwards in the last 6 months.
And here are some comments that I found under Bart's video. One person saying that Frank is starting to look like a vegan. And if a carnivore, someone who eats opposite of a vegan, can end up looking like a vegan, be mistaken for a vegan even, then he might as well be a vegan. Remind me of what's wrong with being a vegan again.
I'm starting to think I actually am crazy.
Another thing to bring up here, there's a problem with testosterone in the carnivore community. There's Dr. Shawn Baker, who did a blood test. His testosterone was low. That is very strange for him. Here's a clip of him.
If you eat sentient animals, you will have sentience. Those that don't eat sentient animals lack sentience.
I'm interested. Shawn Baker, one of the head carnivore proponents, is like his whole life revolves around eating steak and deadlifting. It's kind of hilarious. and getting people to eat meat.
To get a quick check from big meat companies.
And now Frank Tufano, I hear that his testosterone is 100 to 150. The normal low starts at 300. What do you think, people? What do you conclude from all of this information? And also, what is the hidden joke here? When I put all of these things together, and other things even, I know what I think. I think there's too many holes in the logic of this diet. Holes in the community, the people who do it, the symptoms, the results, and the way this diet came out of nowhere, and it's fading pretty fast.
How many people have done this, right? How many modern, super intelligent, well-read, articulate people like Jordan Peterson have done this diet? I bet it's a really, really small amount.
Yeah, like zero. Now, what kind of intelligence do you have to be interested in doing something with so many logical problems?
I'm interested.
So I think it's time to quit all this carnivore stuff. It looks like a dead end.